Saffron was never merely a spice, it was currency, medicine, dye, perfume, an aphrodisiac, a symbol of royalty, and a catalyst for wars, driving empires to obsession and individuals to murder. A tiny thread of crimson that truly was, for millennia, worth more than gold. This isn't hyperbole. This fragile, unassuming crocus, producing threads so delicate they had to be harvested by hand, has commanded a price higher than almost any other commodity in human history, shaping economies, sparking conflicts, and dictating the destinies of entire civilizations. How did such a delicate flower, growing only in specific climates and demanding such labor, ascend to such dizzying heights of value? Its story begins shrouded in the mists of antiquity, a tale whispered among ancient civilizations long before written history could capture its full, intoxicating allure. Deep in the eastern Mediterranean, or perhaps further east in the fertile crescent of Persia, a wild purple flower, Crocus cartwrightianus, held a secret. Among its petals, 3 vibrant red-orange stigmas hinted at an extraordinary potential, waiting for humanity to discover its magic. It was through careful selection and cultivation, a process that spanned centuries, that this wild plant was transformed into the sterile hybrid we know today as Crocus sativus, the saffron crocus. This plant, incapable of reproducing by seed, relies entirely on human hands for its survival, a symbiotic relationship that has bound its destiny to ours for over 3,000 years. Its origins are hotly debated, with strong evidence pointing to Crete, Greece, or even ancient Iran as its birthplace, each region laying claim to nurturing its initial cultivation. What is undeniable is that once discovered, saffron became an object of intense desire, a commodity whose influence would stretch across continents and millennia, fundamentally altering the course of human endeavor. The earliest verified evidence of saffron's profound impact on human culture can be found etched into the walls of the Bronze Age Minoan palace at Knossos on Crete, dating back to 1700 BCE. Here, in vibrant frescoes, young women and monkeys are depicted carefully gathering saffron crocus flowers, a testament to its established importance in their society. On the volcanic island of Thera, preserved beneath layers of ash from a catastrophic eruption, the saffron gatherers fresco from Akrotiri shows a goddess receiving treatment, possibly medicinal, involving saffron. These ancient artworks don't just show a plant, they reveal a sacred ritual, a valued crop, and a deep understanding of its properties. This wasn't merely a decorative plant, it was a potent substance, revered for its rich color, captivating aroma, and perceived healing powers. For the Minoans, it seems saffron held a significance that bordered on the divine, intertwined with their religious practices and their daily lives, a thread connecting them to the very essence of nature's bounty. From the Aegean, saffron's golden tendrils quickly spread, captivating the ancient world. The Egyptians, masters of medicine and luxury, embraced it wholeheartedly. Cleopatra, ever the connoisseur of exotic indulgence, famously used saffron in her baths, believing it to be an aphrodisiac that enhanced her allure. Beyond personal vanity, saffron played a practical role in ancient Egypt, utilized in perfumery, religious offerings, and even for mummification rituals, its potent properties thought to aid preservation and purification. Imagine the scent of saffron mingling with myrrh and frankincense, filling the opulent chambers of pharaohs and priests. Simultaneously, in ancient Persia, saffron's cultural significance deepened. It was woven into royal carpets, offered to deities in Zoroastrian rituals, and mixed with hot tea as a powerful medicinal tonic. Persian kings would strew saffron threads on their beds to aid sleep and calm their minds, a luxury so profound it was reserved for the most elite. This was more than just flavor. It was a symbol of status, spirituality, and supreme well-being, deeply embedded in the fabric of their ancient civilization. The Greeks, renowned for their intellectual and medical prowess, meticulously documented saffron's medicinal applications. Hippocrates, the father of Western medicine, prescribed saffron for a litany of ailments, from insomnia and gastrointestinal issues to fevers and menstrual pains. The vibrant yellow-orange color was believed to reflect its solar energy, a powerful force for healing. Legend even tells of Alexander the Great using saffron to treat his battle wounds, bathing in it and witnessing its healing properties firsthand. For the Romans, saffron's appeal transcended medicine and entered the realm of extravagant display. At imperial banquets, guests would be showered with saffron, and its fragrance would fill the air, a breathtaking demonstration of wealth and power. Emperor Nero famously ordered the streets of Rome to be strewn with saffron upon his entry, creating a golden carpet for his procession, an act of unparalleled opulence. Saffron became synonymous with luxury, a staple in the lavish excesses of the Roman elite. It was used to dye imperial robes, perfume public baths, and even in theatrical performances, painting the stage in hues of gold and crimson. By the time the Roman Empire began its long decline, saffron had already cemented its place as one of the most valuable commodities, a true globalized product long before the term existed. Its journey was facilitated by an intricate web of trade routes, most notably the Silk Road. This ancient network of paths, connecting east and west, became the artery through which saffron flowed, alongside silks, spices, and precious metals. Caravans laden with saffron faced unimaginable dangers, treacherous mountain passes, vast scorching deserts, and the constant threat of bandits eager to seize such a valuable cargo. Every thread that reached its destination had a story of arduous travel, risk, and often bloodshed. The merchants who facilitated this trade were not just businessmen, they were explorers and adventurers, risking their lives to satisfy the insatiable demand for this precious spice. They understood that a small sack of saffron could buy more than gold in distant lands, offering a portable and concentrated form of immense wealth. This immense value, coupled with the difficulty of transport, made saffron not just a luxury, but a strategic asset, influencing diplomatic relations and often becoming the subject of fierce competition. With the collapse of the Western Roman Empire and the onset of the so-called Dark Ages in Europe, much of the classical knowledge and cultivation practices, including those for saffron, faded from memory. Europe entered a period of fragmentation and decline, and the grand banquets and saffron-strewn streets of Rome became distant memories. However, saffron's journey did not end. It found a new, vibrant home and a renewed purpose in the flourishing Islamic world. While Europe struggled, the Islamic Golden Age blossomed, carrying the torch of learning, science, and trade. Arab scholars meticulously studied and translated ancient Greek and Roman texts, preserving and expanding upon medical and botanical knowledge. It was through the Moors, who brought saffron cultivation to Spain in the 10th century, that its flame was kept alive. Cities like Cordoba and Toledo became centers of learning and agricultural innovation, where saffron thrived in the sunny Iberian climate. Islamic physicians such as Avicenna and Rhazes incorporated saffron extensively into their comprehensive medical treatises, further solidifying its reputation as a powerful therapeutic agent.
This era was crucial. Without the careful stewardship of the Islamic world, saffron might have vanished from Western consciousness, its incredible history broken. The return of saffron to Europe was not a quiet reintroduction, but a dramatic re-entry, fueled by medieval trade and conquest. The Crusades, though brutal and often devastating, inadvertently served as a conduit for the reintroduction of many Eastern commodities, including saffron, back into Western Europe. Crusaders returning from the Holy Land, having encountered its use in Islamic cultures, brought back tales and often samples of the precious spice. However, it was the burgeoning maritime trade, dominated by powerful Italian city-states like Venice and Genoa, that truly reignited Europe's saffron avor. These mercantile republics, with their vast fleets and intricate trade networks stretching across the Mediterranean, began to import saffron in significant quantities, primarily from the thriving Islamic lands. The demand was immense. Saffron was no longer just a memory. It was a potent reality, sought after by royalty, the wealthy, and even the common folk who longed for its medicinal properties. Then came the Black Death in the mid-14th century, a cataclysmic plague that swept across Europe, wiping out an estimated 30 to 50% of the population. In the face of such widespread death and despair, people desperately sought any form of relief or cure. Saffron, with its long-standing reputation as a powerful medicine and a symbol of life-giving warmth, became one of the most sought-after commodities. Its price skyrocketed, driven by fear and an almost irrational hope. People believed it could ward off the plague, or at least alleviate its symptoms. Apothecaries and healers exhausted their supplies, and the demand far outstripped the dwindling availability. This surge in demand during the most catastrophic public health crisis in European history further solidified saffron's astronomical value, turning it from a luxury item into a desperate necessity, a last resort against an invisible killer. This period of intense fear and overwhelming demand paved the way for a radical shift in saffron's economic and political landscape. With European demand reaching unprecedented levels and the supply lines from the East often disrupted by conflicts or pirates, the incentive to cultivate saffron closer to home became irresistible. This marked a pivotal moment in saffron's history, the shift from an imported luxury to a locally cultivated crop in parts of Europe. Spain, already familiar with its cultivation thanks to the Moors, expanded its saffron fields. France and Italy soon followed suit, with regions like Abruzzo in Italy becoming famed for their high-quality saffron. However, this localized production did not diminish its value. If anything, it intensified the competition and the stakes. Saffron was so valuable that it became a form of currency itself. It was used to pay dowries, settle debts, and even as a form of taxation. Landlords often demanded saffron as rent, knowing its universal marketability. Kings and nobles gifted saffron to curry favor or cement alliances, understanding its potent symbolic and economic power. This intense economic pressure and the sheer value of saffron inevitably led to conflict, culminating in what historians sometimes refer to as the Saffron Wars. One of the most infamous instances occurred in 1374 near the bustling city of Basel, Switzerland. A ship laden with a precious cargo of saffron bound for the markets of Europe was intercepted and seized by opportunistic raiders. This wasn't just an act of piracy, it was an act of economic warfare. The loss of such a valuable shipment sparked a furious and bloody conflict as various factions vied for control over the remaining saffron trade routes and the right to cultivate the spice.
Lives were lost, towns were ravaged, and treaties were broken, all for the sake of these delicate crimson threads. This incident, while perhaps not a full-scale war in the modern sense, vividly illustrates the lengths to which people would go to control the supply and distribution of saffron. It underscores its status not just as a spice, but as a strategic commodity, capable of igniting international disputes and local skirmishes. The immense value of saffron also made it a prime target for fraud and adulteration. With a product so expensive, the temptation to cut corners, dilute, or outright fake saffron was enormous. Crooks would mix genuine saffron threads with cheaper, less potent alternatives like calendula, turmeric, or even dyed horsehair, hoping to pass off the counterfeit as the real thing. The consequences for such deceit were extraordinarily severe, reflecting the critical importance attached to the spice. In medieval Nuremberg, one of the leading trade centers, penalties for saffron adulteration were brutal. Convicted fraudsters could face public humiliation, having their fraudulent wares burned before them, or even more horrifying punishments like public execution, buried alive or burned at the stake. These extreme measures highlight not only the economic significance of saffron, but also the societal value placed on trust and authenticity in trade. The stakes were literally life and death for those who dared to tamper with the purity of red gold. Despite the dangers of trade and the risks of cultivation, the quest for saffron continued to fuel exploration and global expansion. As the age of discovery dawned and European powers began to chart new sea routes and colonize distant lands, saffron traveled with them. The Spanish, having cultivated saffron for centuries, introduced the crocus to their colonies in the New World, particularly Mexico, hoping to establish new sources of this lucrative crop. While these ventures often faced challenges due to climate and established agricultural practices, they demonstrated saffron's enduring appeal and its perceived potential for wealth generation wherever it was planted. Even England, far from the Mediterranean, made attempts to cultivate saffron. The town of Saffron Walden in Essex takes its name from these ambitious, if ultimately limited, efforts. Its success there was fleeting, but the name remains a permanent reminder of a time when this small flower promised prosperity. The 17th and 18th centuries saw a gradual shift in the global balance of power, and with it, the fortunes of saffron began to evolve. While still a valuable commodity, the rise of other exotic spices from the East Indies, coupled with changing culinary tastes and the increasing availability of new dyes and medicines, began to subtly erode saffron's unchallenged supremacy. Yet it never truly lost its luster. It transitioned from a ubiquitous medicine and dye to a more specialized luxury, a symbol of refinement and discerning taste. The vast plantations of Iran, Kashmir, and Spain continued to thrive, their harvests still demanding intense labor and fetching high prices. But the era of saffron-fueled wars and death penalties for adulteration began to wane, replaced by more standardized trade practices and less dramatic, though still significant, economic impacts. The Industrial Revolution, with its scientific advancements and mass production capabilities, brought about a more profound transformation. The invention of synthetic dyes, vibrant and cheap, largely replaced saffron's role in coloring textiles. The development of new pharmaceutical compounds diminished its status as a primary medicine, offering more precise and potent remedies for various ailments. Saffron's role as a broad-spectrum cure became more nuanced, often relegated to traditional or folk remedies, though its cultural significance in certain cuisines remained untouched. This period could have marked saffron's decline into irrelevance, a historical curio, yet it did not. Its intrinsic value, its unique flavor profile, and its continuing mystique ensured its survival, maintaining its position as a high-end luxury spice. Its scarcity and the painstaking nature of its harvest continued to protect its market value, preventing it from being relegated to the common spice rack. Today, in the 21st century, saffron remains a marvel of nature and a testament to enduring human dedication. Its cultivation process is almost shockingly unchanged from ancient times. Each delicate purple crocus flower yields just 3 tiny, vivid red stigmas. These must be hand-picked, usually in the early morning, before the sun damages them. Then they are carefully dried, a process that requires immense skill to preserve their flavor, aroma, and color. It takes approximately 100 flowers to produce just 1 gram of dried saffron threads, and for a single kilogram, a staggering 150,000 to 200,000 flowers must be harvested by hand. This labor-intensive process, combined with its specific climate requirements, is the primary reason saffron continues to command a price higher than almost any other spice, often ranging from several thousand to tens of thousands of dollars per pound. If you're finding this deep dive into saffron's bloody and luxurious history as captivating as I am, take a moment to hit that like button. It truly helps spread these untold stories. The global saffron market is still dominated by ancient regions. Iran is by far the largest producer, accounting for over 90% of the world's supply, followed by Spain, India, specifically Kashmir, and Greece. Each region boasts its own unique saffron, with subtle variations in flavor and aroma prized by connoisseurs. While its medicinal role has been refined by modern science, saffron is experiencing a resurgence of interest. Contemporary research is now confirming many of the traditional uses of saffron, identifying powerful antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and even antidepressant properties in its compounds. Studies are exploring its potential in treating neurological disorders, vision problems, and as a natural mood enhancer. The ancient wisdom, once dismissed as folklore, is now being validated by empirical evidence, breathing new life into saffron's centuries-old reputation as a powerful healer. Despite technological advances in other areas of food production, the essence of saffron remains an intimate, labor-intensive craft, a direct link to the hands that first cultivated it thousands of years ago. It's a powerful reminder of how some of the most precious things in life cannot be rushed or industrialized. From the opulent rice dishes of Persian cuisine to the vibrant paellas of Spain, the rich bouillabaisse of France, and the aromatic biryanis of India, saffron continues to be an indispensable ingredient, lending its distinctive aroma, flavor, and golden hue to some of the world's most celebrated dishes. It's not merely a flavor enhancer, it's a cultural touchstone, a thread connecting generations and continents through shared culinary heritage. What does saffron mean to you? Have you cooked with it or tasted it in a dish that transported you? Share your experiences in the comments below. I'm always fascinated to hear how this ancient spice touches modern lives. The saga of saffron is far more than the history of a spice. It's a profound narrative of human desire, ingenuity, and the relentless pursuit of beauty and health. From its humble origins as a wild crocus transformed by ancient hands, to its role in anointing pharaohs, inspiring doctors, inciting wars, and adorning the tables of emperors, saffron has weathered millennia. It has been valued above gold, a catalyst for both extravagant luxury and brutal conflict.
It stands as a testament to the enduring power of nature, a tiny, delicate thread capable of weaving itself into the very fabric of human civilization, shaping cultures, economies, and even geopolitics for thousands of years. Its story reminds us that sometimes the greatest treasures come in the smallest, most unassuming packages, harvested by hand, imbued with history, and forever worth more than their weight in gold. If you appreciate these deep dives into the forgotten stories behind our food, consider subscribing to Breaking Bread. We bring you more captivating journeys through history, one ingredient at a time.